Hi, my name is David. Today we're going to do number 1399, count largest group. This is an easy level problem on LeetCode. I'm going to solve it in JavaScript. So we're given an integer n that we take in, and each number from 1 to n is grouped according to the sum of its digits. Return how many groups have the largest size. So for example, n is 13, the output is 4, and we have to loop through 1 to 13, 1 here to 13, and then we group together by how they're added together. It's kind of confusing at first, but you get the idea that 1 adds up to 1, and this also adds up to 1. 1 plus 0 is 1, and this is two, this is group for 2, and this group has the highest amount of 2 indices, and then there's 4 of them, so we return 4. So the key to looking at this, whenever we see something that we have to divide by a digit, we want to use the mod 10 feature. We don't want to make it a string. So think whenever we have to go by digits, think mod 10 divided by 10. So let's get to this. So how we're going to do this is that we're going to create, well, we have to create the create output variable, and we set it equal to 0 first. And next we create the max length variable, create max length, how do you max size, we'll say max size variable. And now we can create a map, create an object to keep track of everything. So create count object, and that's going to keep track of the numbers and their counts. And now to fill out this count object, we loop through n. And inside of this loop, we have to create a num variable that we're going to be dividing by 10, like I said that before, with the current number, and then also create a sum variable. So, and then once we have these variables set up, we have to create a while loop. While num is greater than 0, we're going to have to manipulate it and then have the conditions. Well, we're going to add sum by the mod 10 of num. Add sum by mod 10 of num. So for example, when we go, for this one, start at 1. 1 mod 10 is 1. So 1 gets put. So for the number 1, the sum is 1. And then number 2, the sum is 2. But then when we get to 10, here, so from 1 to 9 is just going to be equal to each other. And then what we want to do next is we have to change the num, divide num by 10. So we can look at the 1. So for 10, we look at 10 mod 10. 10 mod 10 is 0. And then we divide by 10, so 1. And then we do the same thing we did it for 1 before, then we got 1. So the num of this object is going to be from 1 through 9, and then the value is the count of it. And then we do that. And then we have to create the condition if we find a new max length. Okay, sorry. And then we have to add this to the object. Add the num and the sum. So sorry, the sum is going to be the key to count, and then increment it when we see it. And then the values we get it, find the max size with the values of count. To the highest value we have for count will be the max size of it. And then once we fill this out, this count object, we have to loop through it again. Loop through count condition if value is equal to maxSize. And then if it is, we increment output. And then lastly, we return output. Okay, so put in the code that output equals 0, that max size starts off at 0, that count as an object. Now we loop through n for that I starts off at 1 equals to 1, I is less than or equal to n, I plus plus, and inside of this we create the variables, let num equals I, and then let sum starts off at 0, and now we do a while loop while num is greater than 0. We have to look at the sum of it of each digit. So sum plus equal num mod 10, and then we change num equals num divided by 10, and then we need the math dot for because there might be a decimal. And now we got that. We'll have to update the object. So count sum is what we're looking at, and then it equals to, we'll use this syntax to see if it's not in there. We set it to equal to 0, and if it's in there, we just set it equal to whatever it was, and then we increment it by 1 regardless. And then after that, we find the max size. So max size equals math dot max, whether it's the current max size or count sum. And we can see here, we can console log count. So you can see. See, it gets the sums of it and how many times it occurs. So for this, this is the 13 one we got. Okay, so after that, we loop through the object for let key in count. And inside of this, we create the condition if count index key is equal to max size, we increment output plus plus, and then once we finish this, we return output. Great, we got it. So the time complexity, we know that we're looping through n, so there's going to be O of n. We're also looping through count here, but this is always going to be smaller than this. So it's going O of n, and then the space complexity, we're creating this map, these constant. This is proportional to however long this is, so it's going to be O of n as well. So that is how you solve this problem. Thank you.